Alien Earth is the latest from Fargo series creator Noah Hawley and launches later this summer. So, to celebrate, we're going to take a trip back almost 50 years now and break down some incredible behind-the-scene tidbits from Ridley Scott's 1979 seminal sci-fi horror masterpiece, Alien. Here are 8 things you never knew about Alien. The original Alien script had a very long and weird journey to the big screen. It was cooked up in the 1970s by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett, 2 sci-fi nobodies at the time. O'Bannon had co-written Dark Star, John Carpenter's low-budget space comedy, and Shusett had exactly 0 screen credits to his name. So naturally, when they started pitching their bizarre, and I'm quoting them here, interspecies alien movie around from studio to studio, they got little to no attention from the big guys. So extra fun fact, they came this close to signing a deal with legendary B-movie king Roger Corman. And if you're interested in seeing more from that guy, I've got a video right here. But once studios saw the insane box office success of a little indie science fiction film called Star Wars in 1977, everyone in town suddenly wanted a piece of the sci-fi pie. Here's a wild one. The movie almost wasn't called Alien. In the early days, Dan O'Bannon originally named his script Memory, and if you're thinking that doesn't really sound like a story about aggressively sexual aliens, you would be right. According to the 2003 making-of documentary The Beast Within, early on when the script was called Memory, it didn't even have an alien in it. It was apparently just about astronauts waking up from cryosleep orbiting a mysterious planet. Luckily for everyone, that idea was scrapped, an alien was added, and the story became They Bite, which is slightly better, but gives off a low-budget B-movie creature feature energy that I think they were trying to avoid. After that, it was actually titled Star Beast for a good chunk of time. Thankfully, during a rewrite session, he noticed that the word alien kept popping up in the script. He liked how simple it was, one word, clean. It worked as both a noun and an adjective. It also nailed the tone of the story, and nobody had ever used it before. So just like that, Alien got its proper title. And while we're talking marketing, huge shout out to Barbara Gibbs, the person who actually came up with the iconic tagline, "In space, no one can hear you scream." Not O'Bannon, not Ridley Scott, Barbara. Fuck yeah, another thing you never knew. Ridley Scott directing Alien feels like a no-brainer now, but back in the late 70s, he was barely on anyone's radar. At that point, he had only made one film, The Duelists, and he hadn't quite gotten around to redefining the science fiction genre every few years yet. He's quoted as saying, "I wasn't the first choice, I was the 5th choice." Before approaching Scott, 20th Century Fox was dating around, trying to court some of the biggest names at the time, approaching directors like Robert Altman, Robert Aldrich, Peter Yates, and Jack Clayton. Aldrich, best known for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, was the big frontrunner. Until apparently he started phoning it in. His pitch for the now iconic facehugger design was basically, we'll just put some guts on the guy's face. It's not like anyone's going to remember that little critter once they've left the theater. Yikes. What? 20th Century Fox had a problem. A lot of these directors didn't seem to care about actually elevating this material. So when producers Walter Hill and David Giler stumbled across The Duelists and really enjoyed it, they took a chance on the new guy. Scott met with them, laid out his vision, and fucking nailed it. He might have been the 5th choice, but he was for sure the right choice. The Alien franchise has endured for almost 50 years, in large part due to the artistic contributions made by Swiss artist and actual full-blown crazy person H.R. Giger. Giger's design style isn't just sick as fuck. It's also loaded with subtext, which does a lot to elevate the script out of B-movie territory. Giger designed a monster that isn't just scary because it's got sharp teeth and acid blood, it's scary because it taps into a deep human fear. Violence, sex, birth, death, and all that weird shit fused into one sleek, shiny, penis-headed murder machine. All of his alien creations are full of Freudian terror. phallic shapes, vaginal openings, the whole body is a weapon thing. You don't just watch the Xenomorph. You feel like it's violating your brain, and it freaked people out at the time. Naturally, the studio got cold feet and tried multiple times to tone Giger down, but Ridley Scott backed him completely, refusing to compromise on the vision, and it paid off. The final product wasn't just terrifying, it became iconic. Another bonus thing you never knew is that Giger once got stopped by Dutch customs because they thought his paintings were actual photos of mutilated bodies. Hilariously, Giger fired back, "Where on earth did they think I could have photographed my subjects? In hell, perhaps?" Which, like, yeah, probably. Sigourney Weaver is an absolute icon, and somehow still out here crushing it decades later. She's known for being tough as hell, laser-focused, and allergic to KY jelly, apparently. As the story goes, she almost had to leave the project because early in filming, Weaver was dealing with some severe allergies and feared she was allergic to one of the 4 cats, bang, another thing you never knew, playing Jones, and was worried that she would get recast. It turned out that the source of the problem was the glycerin spray that makeup was using to make her seem like she was sweating. They stopped spraying her, and Weaver was able to stick with the role that launched her legendary career and allowed her to become an animated blue child in, like, her 70s. Could you imagine anyone else playing Ripley? I think Sigourney Weaver probably would have gotten famous anyways and made it big because she's that talented, but she never would have been Ripley. And maybe actually, now that I think about it, she might have preferred getting out early because she had to be an alien resurrection. But you still have to be in the Defenders no matter what. There's no fucking getting out of that one. Ridley Scott had a clear vision for his alien. It could not look like a man in a suit, except for this shot. He originally wanted to use animatronics, but the technology just wasn't advanced enough yet if you weren't George Lucas. And that changed when the team discovered, I'm gonna try and say this right, Bolaji Badejo, a 6'10" Nigerian graphic designer, shout out, who happened to be in a London pub at just the right time. His tall, slender frame gave the alien a truly unnatural silhouette, more insect than human, and Scott knew instantly that he was perfect for the role. To prepare, Badejo took mime and Tai Chi classes to learn how to move in a slow, eerie, almost fluid motion. A stunt performer filled in for some of the more physical scenes, but Badejo's haunting presence defined the creature's on-screen identity. Badejo didn't pursue any more acting work after Aliens released and later returned to Nigeria, where he opened an art gallery. Sadly, he did pass away in 1992 due to complications with sickle cell anemia, but his single iconic portrayal of this monster goes down in movie history as one of the all-time greats, and that fucking rocks. Now we're getting to the part of the video where we're just going to talk about how Ridley Scott basically turned the set into a haunted house and forgot to kind of warn everybody involved. Case in point, the legendary chestburster scene. Scott kept the actors in the dark on purpose. They knew something was going to burst out of John Hurt's chest, but they didn't really know what. Ridley Scott just told them to be ready. To make it more intense, the effects team rigged a prosthetic chest filled with compressed air, blood pumps, and real animal organs from a butcher shop. So when the thing exploded out of Hurt's body, everybody was legitimately horrified. Veronica Cartwright had it the worst. She was hit with a high-pressure spray of blood and guts, stumbled back, and actually fainted right after the take. That scream, 100% real. This is the shot they used in the movie. Luckily, nothing went wrong, and Scott didn't need another take because after that, nobody signed up to do it again. As if the chestburster scene wasn't enough, Ridley Scott found plenty of other ways to torture his cast. The spacesuits particularly were a nightmare. They were hot, heavy, and the set was baking under old 1970s studio lights in the middle of summer. The actors were constantly passing out, and it got so bad they had to keep nurses on standby with oxygen tanks just to keep everyone conscious. And one final extra thing you never knew for the road, in the space jockey scene, those aren't adults in those suits. They're Ridley Scott's kids. He used them to make the set look bigger and the jockey look even more massive from a super far distance away. It's an awesome filmmaking perspective trick, but I don't really know if it was worth it when both of his kids actually fainted from heat exhaustion. I think they're cool with it, if you asked him. Oh, and one more tiny little bit of psychological warfare. To subtly ramp up the tension, Scott had the crew quietly move the set's walls in a little more each day without telling the actors, just to mess with their sense of space. You know, for realism, and because it's hilarious. That's everything I've got on the original Alien film, but if I missed anything, please go down in the comments and let me know. And while you're there, leave a like if you like what I do here. It really helps let YouTube know it needs to show my videos to more wonderful people like you. And don't forget to subscribe to Nostalgia Mode for more weekly entertainment videos. Until next time, bye.